All right, welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I'm Felicia Connor.
And I'm Tawny Ray.
And we hope you had a great Halloween. I know we had a super fun October with all of you. And
Yes.
We're hoping you did too.
It was so much fun. It was a lot. It was a marathon.
It really was.
But we did have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so many things.
So much. And I already told Tawny and Josh this, and they just laughed at me. But just in case any of you listened to Halloween and thought, wow, Felicia was such a bitch at the end, I wanted to explain myself a little bit. And I wrote Tawny immediately, and I was like, when I'm passionate about something, like passionate, excited, when I was listening to it, I was like, geez, I sound kind of aggressive. And I'm not. Like, I'm fully full of joy and happy and excited, but I get really intense. And some of the ones at the end, I was like, dude, I sound like a bitch. It made me immediately write Tawny, I am so sorry. And she's like, you're crazy. I didn't think that at all. But yeah. And, I had some old fashions, and it was 3 hours into it. So
yeah, we recorded for so long. That thing is a beast of an episode. I didn't cut much out. Like, I cut a little bit out, just for like the sake of like, we had already, there was like, admittedly there was a bagel scene conversation. I also was kind of drunk, trying to make my point, said the same thing over again, pulled that out.
I was intense on that bagel.
Yeah, we had quite a conversation. That'll go down in well, not infamy, but it'll be one of the most memorable things that we've talked about.
Maybe somebody will make like a, remember the guy with the double rainbow and like and they make those like,
yes,
those music things? You know what I'm talking about. Like those techno-y music, like.
What were those called?
I remember it was really big.
I do, and it was mostly news stories that people did it with.
Yes.
I don't
even know what they're called now.
But shit, those were funny though.
Yeah, they were. I remember that one guy said, protect your children, and say, oh gosh.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for that. That lady as well. That was really big.
But
there were some good ones.
It was like a YouTube channel, I think, but I cannot remember the name of it.
Oh.
And anyway.
The guy crying about the double rainbow. That's why. So anyways, maybe somebody will make that of our bagel scene.
Yeah. Bagel. That's mostly what
Saturday.
Needs to be in there. It's just when you were like, bagel. I feel like that was the climax of that.
Oh, maybe the writers of Saturday Night Live. We have a skit for you. Okay, Tawny, what are you drinking?
Oh, that is good. Oh my god, I just took my first sip of it. Hold on, I gotta take it out of the koozie to show you. I was craving some beer because I've been, mostly drinking whiskey, and I'm just gonna burp a bunch and it's gonna be okay. But this shit is called Mother Earth Brewing Company. Ooh. I think it's somewhere close, maybe Oregon or something. I'm trying to see. Oh no, it's California. But this is good. This is like, it says creamsicle. Cali Creamin'. I should have known by the name. Cali Creamin' Vanilla Cream Ale.
Cali Creamin'. I think it's in Oregon.
I got confused. But creamsicle. And so it's kind of like, ooh. It's kind of orangey though. Like it kind of tastes like an orange sickle.
Have you ever had that Orange Blossom beer? I love that beer. I'm pretty sure it's called Orange Blossom, but I couldn't tell you the brand. It's like in an orange. I'll find out. It's really good.
Okay. Yeah, this is fucking refreshing. What do you got going on over there?
Mine's refreshing too. It is a Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Ooh, yeah. I like that beer. That's a good one.
Yeah, me too.
I just wanted to update on something because I literally yesterday finished editing our Halloween episode. Mm. And I've been thinking about this a lot and listening to us talk about it. And I just want to explain myself now that I've had some time to think about it, because I gave both of those movies lower scores, even though I liked them. And here's what it is. I figured it out. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And so we're gonna have to share this with Josh too. I realized that slashers are just not really like my favorite genre. Like that's why I kind of rated them lower. And it's not that I dislike the slasher genre. It's just I'm sort of lukewarm on it. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, that's okay. Child's Play for me is my favorite because I have nostalgic ties, and I think, Brad Dourif as Chucky and Chucky the character is so fucking out there that it's just, I like that one more than I do the other ones. But yeah, I've just never really been one of those like super into the slasher franchises people. So that's what it is.
Oh, and that makes total sense.
Yeah, and when you were going through and you were like, cross-referencing and you were like, yeah, that stacks up pretty well against your other movies that you've rated. And so like the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what? It's just not one of my favorite genres. And I think like as I'm thinking about it, what's emerging is probably one of my favorite genres is more like supernatural stuff, right? You've got like Hereditary, It, Blair Witch Project, Silent Hill, like they're all kind of have this supernatural element to it. So I don't know, I thought that was an interesting thing that I've never stopped to actually like think about, but that's why I didn't give them as high of a rating, even though I liked them.
That makes sense. You know what? I think I'm actually the same, because those movies you mentioned, I like that psychological thriller. I like psychological scary movies. And the reason I rated Michael Myers so high is because I have this obsession, love for Michael Myers. So there's a lot, like just a lot of nostalgia. So with the new Michael Myers movie, or the Rob Zombie one, I immediately was like, because we got to see him as a kid. So off the bat, I was like, oh my God, yes, because I got to learn more about him. And so I was so excited for that movie. But that's why, specific to Michael Myers, if it was, and we haven't watched other ones like yet, Jason and Freddy and all of those, I guarantee I'm not going to have the same, probably the same reaction. I'm just a huge Michael Myers fan.
Yeah, totally. That makes a lot of sense too for you, because you do tend to like the more of the psychological thriller. So like with this having so much, Rob Zombie's Halloween having so much more of a psychological element, totally makes sense. So yeah. Okay.
Hey, we figured ourselves out.
There it is. We're done.
There it is. I could cancel my counseling. No, I'm just kidding. Today we are reviewing the Purge election year. And we were really excited to do this because if you haven't realized, we do like to try, if possible, and if it's not too horrendous of a movie, theme movies. So if there's a holiday coming up or some type of a special occasion coming up, if there's a movie that's kind of around the same time or related, we like to review it or watch it. And so Tawny mentioned the Purge election year, and I hadn't seen it, so I didn't even think of it. I'm like, that's perfect too, because election year only happens, every 4 years.
Yeah.
So this is perfect. We totally have to do this.
And this episode will air on election day.
Will it? It's going to air the 4th, isn't it?
No, you're right. It is the 4th, my bad.
That's okay. So it's going to come out after you already know. But probably, my husband keeps saying, probably this election, there's going to be, he's like, I just have this feeling there's going to be a lot more after it. Like once like the votes are counted, there's going to be like more stuff that happens. But more than likely, we'll find out who is our new president when you hear this episode. And so
fairly soon after, yeah.
Fairly
I guess
soon, yeah.
It depends on how tight it is, but
that's what he said. How tight it is, then there might be recounts and whatever, that whole type of thing. But not whatever, like it's not important. But you get me.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. I actually wanted to ask you. It's been years since I've voted in person. I know when I first got the right to vote when I was 18, I went in person. And then had always done the mail-in ballot situation. And so I was wondering, because you had mentioned that you went to vote. This sounds so silly, but is it like a computer? Do you sit there and fill out the dots like I had to? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, good question. I don't know about... I would imagine the elections are the same in the presidential election versus local elections. But when we would go and vote in person here, it was the same thing that you're talking about. We just go in and like fill in the little bubbles, and you go to the little stand, you fill it in, bring it to somebody in an envelope, and they put it in the machine and it counts it.
Okay.
So that is how it works, I think, in person still. But we didn't go in this time. We voted absentee and then dropped them in the box. So
gotcha. Okay, yeah, because we do the mail-in, and I never really thought about it because I'm a very trusting person. And this year, my husband's parents, I had mentioned that, and they're like, oh no, you have to walk it up because people steal the ballots and then I got all panicked, and I'm like, oh my God. But now they have a thing where you can, I'm sure they have various websites where you can go and you can put in all of your information and it'll show if they've received your ballot or not. So we did that, and it shows that they had. So
yeah, I think if you have enough time, mailing it is not a big deal, but we got down to the wire. Like we were sort of like, okay, well, if we mail them now,
oh yeah,
we should go just drop them at the box.
No, that's a really good point. And I like that. Definitely exercise your right to vote. I can say, and nothing I say will be political in the sense of either side or anything like that. So don't worry. But my oldest daughter, she, can't vote yet, but she was saying to me, like, I don't ever want to vote because I feel like the last election and not only the election, but all the years leading up to right now and everything going on right now has been the ugliest I've seen with people in general, like with the anger, right? I don't remember that with other elections. I remember being able to talk, like I remember the very first person I voted for. People don't hate me. I mean, I don't know how you could. I think he's a nice old guy, but Dole. I don't even remember why. I was in college.
Dole.
I wanted Bob Dole to win so bad. And I remember, I don't even remember who he ran against. Was it Gore or, I don't even remember. But I remember saying, like, who'd you vote for? I voted for Dole. I voted for, maybe it was Gore, it was somebody, and just talking about it and it not being a big deal, where it's not that way now. And so now that my daughter, she's 17, so she's approaching the age to think about being able to vote next time. She's like, I don't even want to because it's scary and everyone's so angry. And so trying to change that for her, like, no, it's important because you have the right to vote, to do your best, like you just said. She's like, how do you even know it's true? I'll be sitting there watching my anime and a commercial will come up about Trump and then a commercial will come up about Biden or whoever else, is the local, people. Local and election. How do I even know it's true? And I was like, well, first of all, don't stress. You'll have years until you're able to vote, but just do your best. Really, don't just watch the commercials, right? Like you were saying, do some research, do a little research, read some things, and then really just, make the best choice. But it's really awesome that we have the right to vote and that you have a voice. So definitely, go out there and do it.
Yeah, totally. And I think, it's a personal choice whether or not you want to tell people who you voted for. I agree that it does. I mean, like, I guess I wasn't even part of conversations like that prior, so I don't really know. But I was kind of always raised that you don't ask people who they voted for. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's like, I think it's worth talking about. The more that we don't talk about things, I just think that's not the right way to go. We need to be talking about things as people, not as like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like this past chunk of years, we aren't able to talk. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't see that. The extreme both sides, of course, that's because that's all you're seeing. When I say extreme both sides, I mean the people who are Biden, sorry, because then back in the day it was Hillary and Trump, or Biden and Trump. There's just so much anger and there's just so much there that I don't feel people can talk. But I very remember all the other elections that I've, been able to be involved in. It was like we would be able to sit and talk and I just don't feel it's that way right now, and I really, really hope that we get back to that.
Me too.
I really do hope.
That's my also hope for the future, is just a return to being able to have civil conversations personally. I think, part of the reason why that is, Felicia, is the advent, well, not the advent, but the rise of social media, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying there's like a bad thing about talking about whatever your opinions are on social media, but it's a different situation when you're sitting in the room actually talking to a human being than it is behind a screen. And so I think that's part of the reason why there's been kind of a departure from civility, which is unfortunate. And I hope also that we can return to that. And just, I choose to believe that the good majority of us as people are like not like really mean. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, because exactly what you're saying, there are extremes on both sides, and those extremes get amplified to this point of being like, you start to feel like that's everybody, and I just choose to believe that's not true, and there needs to be room for everybody in the middle, like all the time. Like I'm a person who sort of tries to take into consideration everything, and so I really hope that, I think we will be able to. We just need to, be nice to each other.
I agree. I completely agree. You know what I also hope happens in my lifetime? I hope a candidate runs that I am so crazy about that I want to scream from the rooftops, because that's another thing. I feel like I'm always choosing who I hate the least, or who I dislike. Hate's a strong word. Who I dislike the least, honestly. Yeah. I don't ever feel like in the movies, like in this movie, like this woman, Senator Charlie Roan. Like, she is great. She's truly like this woman who is truly doing everything for the people. She is willing to risk her life for the people. She cares so deeply. Like, can we have a movie type candidate run for president? And then
I don't know if we want to go. I don't know if we're going to go that far.
I don't think they would, not a movie person, but you know what I'm saying. Like, that idea of a great candidate, I would be really excited to have somebody that truly is just like a really, really great person. So I hope that happens in my lifetime.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think it's hard when you've got somebody running for president, especially, has to have so many different plans, right? Like, there's like a whole platform, and it's like hard, I think, to have somebody who ticks every single thing, but
I just want a really good person.
Are you saying that you think 2 70-year-old men don't represent you or the majority of this country?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'm shocked.
Shocked. I feel, yes, and there's like no horrible and see, I don't even know it's true, but like, horrible like sexual abuse, or, like, well, I don't think that Biden has that, but his son, what's coming out about him, or what's happening with, just like I don't want to choose definitely the 70-year-old men, or the, like, maybe the worst thing to say about them, like, the other candidate has to really dig to find something that's going to be like bad to say about them, like they don't contradict themselves. They're honest and they're straightforward. I don't even know if that's possible though. And this is going to sound really ignorant, but based on the show I watched, The House of Cards, I think I think that's my vision of politics, not purely based off of that. I had that vision before they had that show. But is that just the corruption, and that decisions aren't made from the heart and 100% for the people, that everyone has agendas, and then there's too much money and power involved.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's hard,
It is. There are a few major things that keep me up at night, and corruption is one of them. And, what's the word? What am I trying to say? The lack of trust in what is happening with the news is very concerning to me.
Of what we're being told.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so it spreads, and also what is the word I'm trying to think of here? But the lack of trust in science and the news and politicians themselves with corruption. Yeah. All of that is very concerning to me, and they're big problems, and it stresses me out, and I don't know how. I mean, not that it's all on me or anything, but like
figure it out, Tawny, and run for president. You have my vote.
But I stress out about how to, how to move forward in a positive way on those things. But
yeah. Whew. Something, and then we'll get right into it, is not about the election, but is something I want to remind everybody, because I just got a little notification. Hey, Felicia, that chapter has a new episode. So that's why you click the bell icon in YouTube, is to get the notification. So I was waiting for Tawny. She was getting set up and I was watching it. And it was, it's true crime. But there was a woman and her group of friends went to this giant Halloween party, and they were drunk and everything. One of this woman's friends had her phone because she was dressed as Poison Ivy, so she didn't have pockets. And another one of her friends was the designated friend that was going to bring her home. Well, they couldn't find her, so they left, assuming she got a ride home.
What?
Then the next day, when the girl's mom was like, hey, she didn't come home, they're like, oh, she probably got a ride home and is drunk and hungover. She'll be home later. So she wasn't even reported missing until 2 days later.
Oh, my God.
And I didn't watch the rest of it, so I don't know what happened, but it's on that show. So obviously I know what happened. Something happened to her. She was killed. But yeah. And then the people I think there's this whole thing of not wanting to be nosy or minding your own business. But several people at the party said, oh, no, we saw her, say, sitting over there alone crying. Or I saw her, she was kind of stumbling around. She wasn't with anybody. Like, yeah, it just, echoing what we had already said, don't leave your friends.
Buddy system. Don't leave them. And if you see someone, like, alone, look out.
Yeah, look out for them. Just look out for them. Don't think, it's none of your business. Like, kind of make it your business, because that, person would, just the right thing to do, in my opinion. Okay, that's it. That's
PSA.
Yes, exactly. We are talking about the Purge election year. Sorry, I think I said election day last time. The Purge election year. It's a dystopian action horror film. My oldest daughter actually watched this with me, and although it grossed her out, she was able to watch it, and she goes, because it really didn't feel like a horror film. It felt like a action film.
Action movie, yeah.
Yeah, an action movie. I think she's the same and is most terrified by the paranormal type stuff.
Okay.
That's like what she won't watch. But anyway. The director is James. It's not James. Felicia, you misspelled that. It's got to be James. Can't be James.
James.
I know. James DeMonaco. He did all the Purge, the Purge Anarchy, all of that stuff. But I wanted to add something different. He also produced the screenplay for Jack. That was the movie with Robin Williams. So I thought that was a totally interesting, completely different sort of thing. Something else about him is he has written and directed all of the Purges, which is very rare in a horror franchise.
Wow, okay.
The budget was $10 million and it made $118.6 million. So that's good. The whole thing was shot in Rhode Island with just like a couple shots in Washington, D.C., but mostly all in Rhode Island. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 56%, and the average rating is 6 out of 10. So let me give you my little summary. And
wait, what was the tell me the Rotten Tomatoes again?
The Rotten Tomatoes was 56%.
Okay, all right.
Something interesting about that, though, is that every Purge movie does better than its predecessor. I thought that was interesting. That's good. That's how it should be. It should be, I created this, and now I'm going to take this and do it even better, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Let me give you the summary and the cast, and then we'll dig into it. The summary is, it's been 2 years since Leo Barnes, played by Frank Grillo, stopped himself from a regrettable act of revenge on Purge Night. Now, serving as head of security for Senator Charlie Roan, his mission is to protect her in a run for president and survive the annual ritual that targets the poor and innocent. But when a betrayal forces them onto the streets of D.C. on the one night when no help is available, they must stay alive until dawn, or both be sacrificed for their sins against the state. The cast is Frank Grillo, hopefully I'm saying that right, sorry, Leo Barnes. Elizabeth Mitchell plays Senator Charlie Roan.
Okay.
Mike Kelty Williamson plays Joe Dixon. Joseph Julian Soria plays Marcos. Edwin Hodge plays Dante Bishop. And Betty Gabriel plays Lainey Rucker.
I loved her.
Me too.
She was one of my favorite characters. She was
a badass.
Totally.
She was a total badass.
Yes.
Woo! When she ran over that chick, I was so happy.
My God, I know. And then she gets
screamed.
out with the fucking gun and she's just like, I mean, spoilers. Everybody spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Guys, spoiling, we may curse. And we'll probably, I think I already have, actually. And so that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I was like, is there another thing that we should?
Yeah, no. Sometimes I say we talk about horror, but then I was like, Felicia, why do you always say that? Because it's called Two Chicks in a Horror Flick, so that's really...
You should know.
That's taking it too far with the disclaimers.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
she
Tawny,
was a badass.
What did you think about this movie?
I really liked this movie. And I forgot until I was rewatching it, and then I was like, God damn, this really is a good movie. Like, I forgot how much I liked it until I was rewatching it. It's entertaining. It's action-packed. It's like, I understand that it doesn't feel as much like a horror movie, but I think there are some, like, deeply scary horror elements, especially when it comes to, like, people and, like, what they are capable of and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I also like that type of horror. That's probably another one of my favorite genres is, I don't know what to call it, but it's like you take something that you're like afraid of that people actually could do, and you like take that to the extreme, and that's what I appreciate about The Purge and the Purge series, I think, as a whole.
Would they classify it as a dystopian horror film?
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. How did you feel about it?
I loved it.
Okay.
And I'm so happy I loved it because I'm sure one day we'll watch the first Purge. And because I don't remember a whole lot about it, I did see it. I've only seen one Purge, and that's the first one, because I thought this idea is terrifying. I am in. I am all for this. And I remember being disappointed specifically.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed I didn't watch any of the other ones. So thank you, James DeMonaco, for making a truly scary, terrifying Purge. I was anxious the whole time. I was so stressed out. I really, really liked this. The only thing I didn't like, there was only one thing. Those teenage girls. So they walk in to steal the candy bar, and they're fucking little assholes, right?
Yeah.
Just like, why are they acting like that? They're such jerks. But anyways, whatever. So they're jerks. When they came back, first, when they got out of the car, I loved the car all lit up. I loved their outfits. First of all, the one girl I wanted to be that where it had that white mask that said "Kiss Me," and she was like in that all distressed, bloody wedding dress. Like I loved all of that. I thought they looked great. Then I thought that was just way overacted. I thought maybe if they didn't say as much, it would have been better.
Yeah.
It was too much.
I agree.
And they weren't, I know what she was going for. Like her one friend who was like, we're gonna get you. Like, she didn't seem crazy. She seemed irritating.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get my candy bar. And they just kept talking about getting this candy bar. I just thought it just wasn't scary. And I don't know why. Maybe if they were just more quiet or like, because it was a creepy idea.
I don't think that was it. I mean, I think like but here's the thing. Here's my issue with that scene is like it kind of makes sense that they come back for the candy bar or come the first time for the candy bar, right? Because they're like pissed that they got caught and had to give it back the first time, whatever. They're teenagers. I'll give it that. But the second time that they come back, it's ridiculous that they're just like hounding this person over a candy bar. It was really like corny in an otherwise like, I mean, there are other like parts of this movie that I think are like insane, like level of insane kind of, but they feel creepy, whereas this just feels corny. You know what I mean? And so if they had come back the second time and it was more about the fact that she got her ear fucking shot off by that guy, I'd buy it. I'd be like, okay, yes. But like, you know, the candy bar the whole time, no, I agree. And so I think it wasn't necessarily that I mean, I do think it was overacted. So if they had like stuck with that idea and then brought the amount of lines down, it could have been better. But like, I think if they had changed the MO or something, you know, like it would have been better. And I thought the main girl was like, she did a good job of being kind of scary. Like she was like, I'm coming to get you, you know, like I liked that. But the other girl was crazy. And then she was like crying, you know, like they cut back to her at some point. She's got like tears on her. I'm like, why? This is weird. But then I was like, you know what? Okay, maybe this is me giving extreme benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're on meth. Okay. Like these people are acting kind of like they're on meth. And you know, everything's legal. So maybe they just got high on meth, came back. They're acting really erratic, but I agree, I didn't love it. I thought it really like ruins
that whole dynamic.
Serious feel.
I totally agree with you. I get why she goes back, because her and this man, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense that she would go back them after their, you know, interaction.
Initial.
Earlier in the day. But, it was just something about those girls that weren't scary at all. Like, I didn't think that girl I thought she was more intimidating when she was in the store. And she was like, what are you going to do about it? Because obviously, what are you going to do about it? You can't like manhandle this teenage girl. You're going to get in trouble. When she was just like, I'm here, you know, it wasn't scary. I think it was just too much. And teenagers are scary. Yeah. Teenagers can be scary. I wish they would have just done something, but I loved it.
Yeah.
When Lainey Rucker ran her over. That was so amazing.
It was so good. So good.
I loved it.
And then, yeah, I mean, again, I already said that, but just that she gets out and just mercilessly shoots everybody in the face. It's just
yes.
Like, oh my God.
It was, I was like, yes, like, I loved it. You know, you mentioned that about meth. Me and my daughter were talking about that. My daughter was like, why is everybody that's participating in the Purge acting like they just got released from an insane asylum? And we talked about it back and forth, and then I thought, well, if you think about it, anybody that would enjoy participating in the Purge are absolutely nuts. Like, enjoy it. I loved that element of when the woman shot her husband and she was losing her shit because it wasn't what she thought it was going to be. Because that would be a normal reaction. Like, you know, so all these people that are like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Walking around like, I am really crazy, you know, like, yeah, maybe they, you know, they are if they like doing that shit.
I mean, yeah, and I'm just saying, if everything's legal and everybody's gonna, I mean, there's, you know, you would just imagine in this scenario, if murder is free and clear and you're just like, there's like things set up to murder people, there is also a large market probably for drugs, right? And drugs that
100%.
are illegal. So I I don't know.
And
That's
access to all those tools, like the big things that they were cutting the, those metal shutters with at the store. Those big
Oh, yeah, like the
saws.
big, circular saws. And
Yeah.
what about that giant guillotine that somebody built? That was
Shit.
a great looking scene. I was like, damn,
Oh,
this looks good. I
that
liked
looked
that.
really good.
Super scary.
I was so scared. This whole idea scares me. It blows my mind that anybody was talked into this would reduce crime, though. Because if you think about,
Yeah.
like, I mean, come on. People who commit those types of crimes all the time, or if you have gangs that there's a lot of, like, gang fights and stuff, are people really going to just save it for that one day? Serial killers are not going to wait to exercise their feed their killing hunger for March 21st or whatever day that was. So,
Yeah.
so it makes sense. Oh, I really like the element. Sorry, Tawny. I really did like the government element to where it played on things that every year of our lives, right? We worry about with the government, the taking advantage of the less fortunate, like that was a given. I mean, if you have a day where anybody can kill anybody, the people with the money to bunker down their homes are going to be the ones that survive. I mean, that's a given. And I loved how that, just what we were talking about, and then I'll be quiet, the corruption, and the distrust, because they come on finally after all these years, the NFFA or the NFAA, they come on and they're like, it was never our intention to have the poor and disadvantaged be the ones that are killed the most. We're so sorry. No, they're not. That's all bullshit. But it's feeding into people. We're going to open it up so you can kill anyone because we have an agenda. We want that woman killed so we can stay in power and money and all of that sort of thing. I really like that.
Well, and they even mentioned in the beginning, it's like, oh, there's like reports that have come out that say the NFFA started this and now they're, financially benefiting from it. And it's, I think it so very poignantly reflects some of the deeper fears that we have as people, like, what the corruption, what's happening, what are people going to do if this happens? I think there's a fear of the worst in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary on a different level of scary. Like, does it make me afraid to open up my eyes when I wake up in the middle of the night? No, it's not that type of scary, but it's scary like that. Like, oh no, what, this, there are parallels to what, we just experience as people, human beings. Sorry, keep going.
No, you were going. So I'm not.
You weren't even starting.
I wasn't even starting. I 100% agree with you. It's the fear that these things get, like, I was sitting there watching this thinking, this could happen. People could be I think it would be hard, but I think people could be manipulated into it, including things like the Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they did a beautiful job showing how people slowly but surely got brainwashed or manipulated into thinking that this new way of life was going to be the best. And even the guys in the NFAA they were in the church at the end and they were going to sacrifice, and all of those people. I have to tell you this though. My daughter. Okay, so there's these people that are inside the church, right? And they're all like white, wealthy, some level of power, I guess. And they're all in there. And there's this one woman who's just like smiling and like, yes. And my daughter's like, that bitch, look at her smile. Yes, my daughter curses. And she's also a straight A student and has got a bunch of scholarships to college. So don't hate.
No judgments.
No judgments. But, and then they showed her again and she's like, that bitch is a Karen.
Yeah.
That made me laugh. But all of those people in there with their weird, what am I trying to say? Ritual. I was like, this happens. Like, not necessarily sacrificing people, but if you think of all of these secret societies we hear about that rich, wealthy men usually are a part of, This is totally legit. Like, this didn't look unrealistic to me that they would be doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's obviously taking something and extrapolating it to an extreme degree. Like, ritual type
Secret
things.
society for the very rich and elite.
Yeah.
Male gendered.
Yeah.
You don't really hear about a lot of really rich, elite women secret societies, but maybe they're just better at keeping it secret.
I mean, that's probably true, though.
Probably.
I mean, I'm biased. Because I am a woman, but I mean, I'm just saying, if anybody's better at keeping secrets...
Yes.
Maybe it's us.
It would be women. This idea of the purge terrifies me. It terrifies me. I had so much anxiety. I was thinking, I told my daughter, before anybody went to college, before we even owned a sofa, I would be saving for those things that go down on the windows. The big,
yeah, totally.
Like, that would be my very first priority if we lived in a world that had the purge.
Yeah, and everybody knows this now about me, but I love fucking survival movies. Yeah. So of course this is like just a gigantic survival movie, which is why I like it. And so when you start to think about, like, okay, what's a good idea? What's a bad idea? How would I survive? Where do you hide? What do you do? Yes, it's very interesting and fun to think about for me.
Yeah, I know I was getting anxiety, like, I mean, I've been through the purge, I'm 43 now, so let's say I've been through the purge like 40 years. Would I be more relaxed on purge day? I don't know. But when I saw they're like in the deli playing cards, it's the afternoon. Yeah. Dude, I would be bunkering down hardcore
months in advance.
There's hold on, Tawny, I gotta run to the store before purge starts. No way. Everyone was so relaxed. They're walking around like, I don't know.
Dude, I'd like leave. Like, couldn't you just? I mean, you just leave the country. Like,
I would just leave
the country.
I didn't even think of that, Tawny. I wouldn't even save to bunker down my house. I would save so every year could leave the country with my family. That's brilliant.
Yeah, but then I guess you got to worry about your place. But I mean, like, your place is much less important than yourself. But you could try to bunker down and do both, like bunker down your house and leave. Like, yeah, you could, if everyone was getting those, just like, holiday shopping, there's got to be a time in the year where sales for those window shutters are more expensive than other times of the year. Exactly 6 months after the purge day.
The day after the purge. Yeah. That get those things. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, but I guess that doesn't that's if you have money. If you have extra money, you can leave. Yeah. But like, what if you don't? What do you do? I liked the idea of them here's the thing. I love the concept of this movie. And the thing, I've seen them all, but the thing about the first one is, no spoilers. I mean, this is going to spoil it a little bit, but not a whole lot. They had a really grand idea, and it just ended up being a home invasion movie. Like, so everything was shot in one house, from what I remember. Yes. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of like, what sets this apart from another home invasion movie? And, this is me just assuming, and I'm just assuming that this person, the one who made it, what's his name? James DeMarco?
DeMonaco.
DeMonaco. I'm assuming that he had a really grand plan, but as it being his first one in this series, or maybe first big movie, there's probably not a lot of money. They don't want to take a big gamble on it. So he kind of had to like prove the concept and then, do the later one. So you can tell every single movie gets more grand and more focused on what's happening outside rather than inside, which is really great. I think that was a very smart way to do it. And I'm glad that it went that way because that's what I wanted from the first movie. But,
can I tell you something about that real quick? Unless you lose your thought.
I already lost it.
Oh, shit.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I lost it before you even said
anything. Exactly that. I have a little tidbit. The Purge franchise has expanded its universe more throughout each film. The first film takes place in a house. The second film takes place in the streets. The third film takes place in the government. And also, each film looks at the Purge through different points of view. The first film was told from the rich, the second was told from the poor, and the third is told from the political side.
Okay.
I haven't seen the other one, so...
Is there not a fourth one? I thought there was a fourth one.
There is, but it was after this, so I think all of these notes I have are... But the one that's next is the
first
prequel.
Purge.
The prequel, yeah. And they, James DeMonaco wanted to make this the prequel, but didn't, made it as the sequel to Anarchy. And then the next film is the prequel, yeah. So I didn't write a whole lot about that prequel one, but they did. But another thing is this is the first Purge film not to take place in Los Angeles. So they also expanded out, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the next one takes place in New York. So not only expanding like from the house out, but also, across the nation.
Country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And I couldn't remember. I meant to look up what the sequence of the movies were, but I forgot. So it's like the first one in the house, the second one is Anarchy. This one is 3. And
this one's 3. So that's the first one, then Anarchy, then this one, Election Day, and the next one is... I should have wrote it down.
The first Purge.
Yeah. It is
in
called
2018.
The First Purge. Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Okay.
This one was going to be called The Purge Assassins, by the way, and I'm glad they didn't. I thought because then we wouldn't have picked it for
I know. Yeah. I've seen them all, and I also watched the show, the Purge show. I think it's on like a USA.
There's
maybe
a show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it good?
They did like a 10-episode run or something on USA. I liked it, but I like this concept. I like the concept of the Purge itself. Here's what I love. I like it when you start with something and then it grows, right? Like now we have this whole, like, what's the word? Like ethos. Is that the right word?
I think it is. It sounds like a good word.
Okay, we're gonna run with it. There's this whole thing around like what the Purge Day is and what happens, and I like when you start to really dig into what that means. So like one of the things that I remember in the show, this is not really spoilers, but there's like a fucking carnival that you can like pay to get into and like do stuff. Like you can pay to get in and like murder people, and it's like, so I like it when you take something like this and you start to like say, okay, well, if this actually happened, what then are the next step ramifications down the line, right? So, like, I love this whole world. It's like world building. You've got the triage van in this movie and in other movies, I think, that, are kind of quote-unquote protected, that come out and help people when they're injured. Yes. And you have, this carnival in the show. It's like people are paying to get in and hurt people, murder people, do whatever. And what else? I'm trying to think if there was another example of that. But you've got like, and you've got the resistance, right? You've got the whole opposition side who are trying to make it better or, take out people who are in charge of the Purge. Like it's so interesting. It's like world building. You just have so much to expand upon.
I have another thing for you. The whole idea of the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And how they screwed over that guy with the Purge. I never even thought of that. Purge insurance. So businesses have Purge insurance and you pay into it to protect your business. And then how right the day of they hike up his rates, just as a way to get rid of those small little family owned businesses in the city because they can't pay for it.
Yeah,
I thought that was really smart too. Yeah. How humans would naturally, based off the very first Purge ever, and what that was like and how people would adjust to now we've been doing it for years. What are the creative, disgusting things that people come up with? Yes. I also liked, I don't know if they did this in any of the other Purge, but I just mentioned it, the woman. So like a normal human being that maybe, you get so mad and you're like, screw that person, I'm going to kill him. You have that thought. And then, and the Purge, you're allowed to. So year after year, this just happens and you're thinking, okay, the fact that it's legal maybe makes it not as bad. That going into your mind and then you actually do it. You have ended a human life and how horrific that would be. I don't know if they did that in other Purges.
I think that they do explore that, and I can't remember, like, I mean, like, it's not beyond the day of Purge, but, like, I feel like I seem to remember at some point there being characters who are, like, they, like, regret what they did or had to do on Purge night, and, yeah.
Is that Lainey Rucker? Because, again, I haven't seen the other ones, and they made it, though. Like, she was pretty much a badass, and now she's helping people.
Yeah, they didn't really get into it with her, I feel like, in this movie, but no, it was, like, other people who had maybe I could be misremembering, and there's a lot considering the 10 episodes and the, like, 4 movies, you know, like, I could be mixing
Or the
it
10
up.
episodes with the same people
No.
in the show? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's totally
Okay.
different. It's just kind of set in the same, like, universe. And I seem to remember in the show, there's, like, this, like, gauntlet of, like, things that people have to go through, and whoever wins, like, wins a prize. But it's all, like, deadly stuff, and it's, like, televised. Like, somebody just, but it's, like, grassroots. Like, somebody just decided to put on this, like, thing, and so it happens every year. Like, I like the idea that you can kind of really build on something like this, you know?
Yeah. I liked and hated that the senator wasn't going to go to the bunker, but it was realistic. It wasn't because she was like, if I'm in a bunker, you know, I'm not here with the people I'm supporting. So I liked that. Because I was like, are you kidding me? But then you can't support the people if you are dead. But then on the other hand, like, I get it, you know, so it wasn't like totally unbelievable. A little interesting tidbit is that house she was in, her house, was Mr. Underwood's house in the House of Cards. I don't know if you watched it.
Shit, I did, but I didn't finish it. I stopped watching, and I think the season before, the woman, what's her name?
Penn.
I don't remember her character.
God, I loved her. Here's
I liked her too.
A little embarrassing tidbit, but the first time I got a super short pixie was because I loved her and I thought she was badass. I cut off all my hair.
I don't think that's embarrassing.
I thought she was so cool. Robin Wright Penn?
Okay.
Right? Or Robin Wright, because she's not married to Sean Penn anymore. I just thought she was such a badass. But yeah, that's their house. I thought I recognized it.
There was something, familiar about it, so I'm glad that you said that. It wasn't, like, driving me crazy or anything, but I was like, this house seems familiar.
I'm just looking down because I was looking at my notes. That, based off what I just said, when she said, you know, in order, you know, to become president and everything, I have to risk everything, including my life. And I thought that was kind of counterintuitive, because if you're dead, then that other sicko is going to win. Like,
yeah,
you can't risk your life fully. I get what you're trying to say, but that's also very precarious, because how are we going to vote for you to end the purge if you're dead?
Do you have a succession plan? Like, who comes after you? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
What do the ladies in the van do? Oh, I had to actually stop the movie and Google it, because I didn't know. I remember the radio, so first of all, that whole buildup. Oh my God, I was so nervous. And then that thing, we are now commencing the purge. And it's that thing on the TV, that annual purge. I have cold chills now just saying it. And I was like, oh my God, just sitting there bunkered down, you know, like, oh God, how terrifying. And they mentioned that there's no medical services. So then when she was driving around, I thought, okay, wait a second. And then I saw that they were like an underground organization. But why did she say we're protected?
I think, and I think this might have happened in a previous Purge movie, and so this is maybe why I'm remembering it. But there's some, and she mentions it in this movie too. There's some sort of unwritten. It's not official, it's not like a thing, but there's kind of an unwritten rule, like, we leave these people alone. And so when I think she says that I'm protected, I think that's what she means, is like, I'm not going around doing whatever the fuck I want. Like, I'm a part of the triage. I'm the triage van. People don't fuck with us, usually.
Okay. I was wondering, because I was really confused. I was like, if you're like the top killer, no one goes after you? I wasn't sure. Do purgers kill other purgers? Or are they only after nice, innocent people?
No, like, it's like a fucking free
Because there seemed like there was a bunch of nutty people. Okay, like, me and my daughter did laugh about this because my daughter is very crafty and she crochets stuff really fast. And in one scene, there was this older woman sitting at the bus stop crocheting. I thought she had like a crochet basket. Na, 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 while some man's burning. It's like, it was so fast.
I don't
It was
remember
like
that.
they were coming out and they passed her. It was fast. I was like, oh, honey, that would be you with a little crocheting. Like, why wasn't anybody killing that woman? Was just kicking it in the street or, but they do. They kill each other. I want to say one thing and then I'll stop for you to talk, not forever. I liked the amount of purgers. And the reason I say that is it means the majority of humanity is good because the streets weren't flooded with people slaughtering each other. Now, they could have been doing it in their houses, but there were some really nasty, violent people out in the street, but there was a lot of empty portions to the streets as well. So I thought that was cool, that not everybody was disgusting and trying to purge. Because even like when I get really angry, or if I was a teenager and I'm like, oh, I'm going to beat the crap out of that person, whatever, I wouldn't. You know, right? It's like that, those anger urges. And even if someone told me I'm allowed to go and kill people I don't like, I wouldn't, you know? So I liked that it seemed that was the majority of people, even though there was a lot of people that, you know,
were still out there. Yeah. There are like large groups of people in this one too, which I don't seem to remember in the other ones. And I could be, again, misremembering. But there were like, you know, you've got the whole groups of people doing certain things, which is kind of unsettling, but you're right, it wasn't a lot.
I think that we should be dressed like there were some, I really liked the costumes.
Costumes were pretty cool.
Yeah, the costumes were cool. It was scary. That guillotine thing was scary.
Yeah.
I totally believed 100 billion%. The whole scene where all the guys, and I think they were like in gangs, maybe like motorcycle gangs, and I know one was the Crips, you know, like there was these gangs having fights with swords and stuff. I totally see that happening in real life with a bunch of men. That whole Fight Club idea and mentality, right? I could totally see that.
Yeah. I thought that was a really great scene. This is one of my other favorite scenes, though, is when they come across those people in the triage van and they're like, you know, they're trying to get rid of the bullet. So they're like, yeah, we'll take care of your friend if you do something for us. And then they end up luring those like Nazi fucks out to the middle of nowhere and murdering the shit out of them. That was so satisfying. I was like, there are definite satisfying like scenes in this movie. And I was just like, hell yeah.
That was really satisfying. I liked that idea as well, like you mentioned. Fine, we won't hurt you if you help our guy. And then they lured those guys away. And when the one guy, the big main Nazi dude, he took off his hat, my daughter went, is that a swastika? And I was like, yeah, these are Nazis. They like have white power on the back of their costumes. And she's like, pig. I hope he dies. And then they lured him all. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was
I
satisfying.
loved it.
It was good.
It did irritate me, but not that it ruined it for me. It totally. I literally have it here in it's underlined with exclamation points. Just follow him. So when the senator, I get you stand up for the people. I get that you are like, I'll do anything I need to do. Also, can you just shut up and follow the guy that totally just saved your life? Like, they were behind, it was a scene where he just had blown those people up in her apartment, and they were in that alleyway, and he was saying, like, this is what we need to do, and she goes, but if I see something that I don't think is right, I'm not going to be quiet, that's not who I am. Shut the fuck up right now. Because this... Just stop. This guy is super badass. He totally just like saved your life. Let's please, because did she make one decision that saved them both? No, she did not. He took care of everything because that was his job. She didn't do anything that no, we need to go this way. No, I take that back. There was one thing, which we don't know for sure, that he stuck up with her on, was when she was saying, please don't kill that guy because he'll be a martyr.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. But other than that, as far as surviving, just like, it's not a bad thing, like, to just follow his lead because this is what he's trained to do.
And it was like, I mean, how are you even thinking about that right now? Cross that bridge when you come to it, okay? Just fucking follow him, do what he says until there's a moment where you're like, okay, this is not cool. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, let's not fight about it inside of, because we are outside now. We are not bunkered down.
Yes, we have to go figure out where to go. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's not be self-righteous, don't tell me what to do sort of thing. Let's just, like, he's not trying to be a chauvinistic pig. He's literally trying to save your life. Risking his life to save yours so that you can end the purge, dude. That's
doing
the goal.
A damn good job of it, too. He's
damn good job. I hope they got married and had babies. Because both of those people are so badass and smart that...
Ooh, they're badass babies, dude. They'd be the baddest ass babies.
The baddest ass babies. Those babies are going to grow to be candidates that I'm going to be excited to vote for.
They'd have to give... Yes. They'd have to give him get him one of those little baby awesome weapons. You know what I don't even know what the fuck that thing is called, but it was in the hand and it was a little blade. I was like, shit, dude. Yeah. That thing was awesome. He was out there just fucking, like, just real fast, like, slitting people's throats and getting them in the kidneys and shit. I was like, yes.
It was so great. I totally know what you're talking about.
It was so good.
Oh my God, I love that. I have here, it's the smallest thing, but it's not a big deal. It wasn't like I was upset about it, but it was more like I was mad at the guy, the shop owner. When they're on the top, right, of the thing, this is the first thing. I loved him. I thought he was cool, and I felt so bad for him when they revoked his insurance. But he's at the top, and him and that guy who's a super good sharpshooter are waiting, to protect the store, and he hands them beer. Okay, first of all, nobody should be drinking.
Yeah, you gotta stay sharp, dude.
And then a couple scenes later, he's passed out drunk.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, he's like, I'm going to give you the store. Like, he was drunk. And then, thank God, he sobered up real quick. But at first, I was like, your dude's drunk. Oh, my God. You guys are screwed.
I thought you were going to say, and this part drove me crazy, that he was, like, so invested in, like, saving the store. Like, I get that that's, like, his livelihood, and it totally sucks, and he lost the insurance, and, like, that is all terrible. And I also felt really bad for him. The fucking characters in this movie were phenomenal, top notch, really fleshed out. Anyway, setting that aside. But I was like, leave the fucking store, like, which he eventually did. But the fact that he even tried to stay there and fight off these, like, teenage girls, I was like, dude, just, like, I thought it was very appropriate that, is it Marcos? Was that his name?
Yes.
He was like, or maybe it wasn't
Marcos.
him, maybe it was somebody earlier, maybe it was Lainey earlier that was like, somebody said to him, you are not replaceable. Everything in this store is.
That was her. That was Lainey, you're right.
Yeah. I liked that, and I thought that was very well said. And so for the rest of the movie, I'm like, leave the fucking store. And then they even get down to this, like, other place, and he's like, I'm gonna go back to the store. I was like, bitch, no, don't go back to the fucking... No, stay here where you're safe. Like, the store is gone, maybe. Just leave it,
That is exactly what I was going to say second.
Okay.
So his first, I'm going to protect the store. And seeing how many people were out in the purge, it wasn't like parades of people in the street. Like, maybe he could sit at the top of the building. He should have blocked the door, which he apparently didn't because Marcos just popped right in there.
Right, yeah.
But he's at the top and not drinking, by the way, so he could actually shoot people. But when he was leaving, I was super happy he left, that he was like, okay, I'm not replaceable, and he leaves. There's somebody breaking into the store in the back. They're cutting through the metal, okay? Mm-hmm. Now we're at this bunker, and he says, I'm going back to the store. I'll walk if you don't take me. That was really stupid. Because first of all, if something's wrong with your store, it's wrong. Like, you already left somebody cutting through the door. So
Right.
they've been long in your store fucking stuff up.
Right. It's
done.
over.
Now you're going to go back and risk all of your friends' lives because they don't want you to go alone. That was stupid. And they literally just left and turned around because too much shit was going down. But
Right.
I mean, that was, come on, dude.
I know. And there's no way.
That's
Also, they
stupid.
probably cut a hole in that door and got in there. And then how are you going to secure that door? Like,
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
the
was
ship has
stupid.
sailed. Leave
That
it.
ship is, exactly. If something's wrong with your store, it's already happened. I have this underlined with a lot of arrows. This really pissed me off. People from other countries shouldn't be able to come over.
Yeah, that was another interesting example of like, just like what I was talking about, like you're exploring what could happen beyond that. Like the tourism, the murder tourism is what they called it. And I was like, shit, that is a really interesting idea.
You're just allowing other people who are violent and disgusting to come in here and kill Americans. That's terrorism. But you're getting paid for it. You're getting paid for the terrorists to come over and do that. That's really what it is, right? If like someone, well, terrorism is a huge word. It covers a lot of stuff. But I'm just saying, like, you could have people that just hate Americans just to come and kill Americans and then they go home. Mm-hmm. I was so pissed. I was like, all of you want to murder people, then you go fight for that shit in your own country and have them, create Purge Day in your country. That's bullshit. We already have enough fucking people here trying to kill people to let all the people from different countries come.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck talking to a psychologist. Go lobby for the Purge in your own country.
Yeah, exactly. And I loved it that they got all shot up.
I know, they got mowed down. I was also like, that was so satisfying.
That was so satisfying.
Obviously, we're not proponents of real violence.
Just in this show, I would be the one bunkered down. Well, first of all, I would leave the country. If I couldn't, I would just I'd be bunkered down. Every single one of my family members would have a gun. They would know how to shoot it. And I would just sit there quietly all night long in my home. That's it. Like, if we could leave the country, that would be even better. But yeah, I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't take this opportunity to kill people or anything. But we're talking about a movie, and those guys were assholes, and they got mowed down, and that was awesome.
Yeah, and fuck them.
Fuck them. Oh God. I have this a lot. The candy bar thing, dude.
Yeah.
If they just made those teenage girls talk a little bit less and stop talking about the candy bar. I mean, if they made it more simple, like my daughter brought up, there was someone who was just kind of like, who was she talking about? I don't even remember. But they're just kind of like, they're just scary, and they are just walking towards you. Is so much more scary than all the theatrics.
Right.
You know what I mean? But anyways, we're over that. That ship has sailed. I literally wrote in my notes, fuck yeah, when she ran over that girl.
That's probably the best scene in the whole thing, honestly. We keep talking about it. It's so good.
So good.
She's all, hold on. Just fucking runs him right over.
Oh, this note. Shoot and the people fall by. The shooting of these people was so realistic. It was insane. I mean, okay, first, let me rephrase. I've not seen a real person shot. But in this, it looked real. That's when Lainey was shooting the girls, and she shot that guy the girl in the pig costume. Yeah. And they flew back, or their heads jerked over. Like, the whole thing was so real. It was intense.
Yeah, I do wonder what the level of realism is there. I mean, it seemed like she had some sort of like high-powered, I don't know shit about guns, but it was like, it seemed like a big deal gun.
Yeah.
So maybe it would knock somebody back,
I think if you're shot with a normal gun and you would probably, like, the impact would at least move you that way. But she seemed like she had a big old shotgun or something. Yeah. It was pretty high powered, and I thought it was just really intense. It was cool. Yeah. not cool. You know what? We're talking about horror movies, so
You know,
we
these
can't
people
keep
know.
making excuses for ourselves. Like, not that we really think that's cool. Everybody knows. Like, that's insane. Like,
They know. They're with
yeah.
us.
They're with us. I don't need to keep explaining that shit.
You know what else I liked was the idea of drones. Like, there was just like a lot of things in this movie that were like, whoa. Like, I would never stop to think about how that would be utilized in this situation. And so the tracking drones were like scary.
The tracking drones. When the white supremacist dudes were in the helicopter, my daughter goes, "That's not fair. That should be against the rules. That's not fair. You shouldn't be able to go around and shoot people with a freaking giant helicopter." And I was like, I don't think the majority of people do. It's just because they, are attached to this political dude and have money.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, why, if you knew how to fly a helicopter, why couldn't you steal one? And I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you could.
You can hot wire a helicopter?
It's
Whatever that looks like?
Off limits. Do helicopters have keys?
I don't know.
Things
we're not familiar with. Math, helicopters, guns.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, tanks? Like, I don't know, though, where you would... I mean, some people live near places that have tanks. I don't know if I'm near a base that would have a tank.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know.
I don't think it's that easy to steal tanks and helicopters. Helicopters, not like newscopters with like giant machine guns on them. I don't think it's easy. Mm-mm. Okay, so the Reverend guy was... Okay, just to make sure I have it right. The Reverend was going to be... he was running to be senator, right?
I
Reverend
think so.
Was? Okay.
Well,
okay.
I don't know if he was the Reverend. You're talking about the guy who was speaking at the
the one she was up against, and he was at the final thing. He was
church scene.
Yeah, the church scene guy.
But he's not in the robes, right? The guy in the robes.
No,
was
not that weird Reverend.
That guy was
creep-tastic. Creep-tastic. I love that. He was creep-tastic for sure. I was like, did he find the only? Well, I don't know how many reverends or serial killers, but like the one serial killing priest that like doesn't see daylight, and he was so scary.
He's also part vampire, apparently.
Dark circles. Oh my god, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I maybe I missed something, but I didn't get that he was a reverend. I thought he was just there speaking.
He was the guy though, right? That she was up against.
I'm pretty sure.
Bad guy. Yeah. Okay. I was pulling up like the cast because I thought he was Minister Edwidge Owens, played by Kyle Secor. He was running against her.
Okay.
So he was a minister. Okay, but I know he wasn't the priest, but he was the religious guy. But what I wrote here is, what a weird scene that was. Me and my daughter both looked at each other because the scary priest, the vampire priest, he stabbed that first guy. And then all of a sudden that minister turned into like this, like crazy
he was
guy.
Being weird.
Then he grabbed him and he's like, yeah, you see the light. And then he's like, yeah, I see the light. And then I thought they were going to kiss. It was so
okay.
weird, that moment. And they're looking at each other in their eyes and like looking at each other. And me and my daughter are like, what's happening now?
I thought he was going to stab him. Like, I thought because it is sort of like, it's setting it up for something to happen. Like, you're like, oh, what's going to happen? But I thought that guy was about to have the bloodlust and fucking turn around and stab him too or something. But that did not happen, so.
Oh, you're right. I thought maybe the minister, Edwin, was going, you're right. I did have a moment where I thought he was going to like break that guy's neck or kill the creepy vampire priest.
Oh, I'm saying the opposite. I thought the creepy vampire priest was going to kill... Like, or was gonna stab. I see. Like, I just thought that guy was now in a frenzy. Like, he had just gone berserk, and he was like, fucking blacked out.
So we both picked up on there was a lot of tension there. We didn't know
what type of tension.
What type? That he was gonna kill him. He was gonna kill him. They were gonna kiss. There was this long pause, and they were like, and I was like, what's happening? And then they just, they let each other go and they moved on. And I'm like, all right.
Okay.
Okay. Loved when they all, this always irritates me though in movies. Cause I think like, just like, let's get the shit, let's talk. When, Frank, that's not his name though in the movie, Leo Barnes, he's walking down the tunnel with his arms out.
Yeah.
He's walking towards, Dante Bishop, and he's like, hey, I'm unarmed. They're like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Finally, he gets to them. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Then he goes to the tunnel. Just tell him. Why don't you just tell them what you're doing here? And then he looks and goes, this is no longer an assassination. Yeah. This is a rescue mission. Just speak. Like, guys, they have the senator. We need to save the senator. That always drives me nuts.
I don't like that either.
Stupid.
Dumb.
Just tell them what the fuck is going on.
Even before that, like he doesn't say anything for a long time, and you're like, there's like 18 fucking people with guns. He was being real smug about it. It's like they could shoot you. Smug. Okay.
Can you tell me why he didn't like Joe Dixon right off the bat? That confused me.
I don't know. I mean,
I guess he was nice to everybody else but Joe Dixon.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem there was. I feel like on some level you could maybe start to excuse that by him being very suspicious of anybody and everybody, but you're right, he was like more being a dick to that guy than anybody else. That did feel very shallow, flat.
He did like the Dante Bishop character. He walked right into that bunker and shook his hand, said, you're doing great work here. He was just so mean to that guy.
But I guess, like, you, as Dante Bishop is, like, a somewhat of a public figure. You know kind of what he's doing and what he stands for, and, you know. I feel like this guy is just any guy off the street, and to him...
That just murdered all of those tourists.
I know, you have to...
save your life.
You have to give... Well, and the thing that bothers me is, like, I think you can have a level of, like, skepticism or, like, not totally trust that guy, but also you don't have to give him shit every 20 seconds. I don't know. It was like a weird, that was a weird thing.
That was weird.
You can just keep it to yourself and then keep an eye out for him. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have to be an outright jerk. Yeah,
this guy's been through enough, okay?
Yeah,
got his store taken away. Fucking Purge insurance is gone.
Purge insurance is gone. I know. I really wanted him to explain that more. I know they didn't have time, but yeah, I have my note here. Go back to the deli with 3 exclamation points and 3 question marks. And then I have that Karen right there. That's what my daughter said. She goes, that Karen right there. Smiling, all excited. My last note on this movie at the very end is I felt sad, literally. Okay, so I was in the mood. But after watching that whole movie at the end, when Bishop was shot, I literally felt sad.
Yeah.
I felt so sad that he wasn't going to be, like, he went through all of that, by that vampire priest, too, of all people, that he wasn't going to go back and, like, you know, run his business. And I felt bad for all the people that were there held, like, I felt teary-eyed. I felt literally sad.
I know. Yeah, that was very sad. I also teared up more in this movie than other times. Like, I don't know why. I was also in a mood. Like, I was having a moment.
I'm so glad you said that.
There were a lot of moments where I was just like, like, and I am a crier. Like, if things hit me, I'm like, no.
Oh, I'm a crier too.
So, yeah, it was like an emotional movie. And I think part of the reason is because they really gave you what felt like very real characters, like human beings. And so you felt for them. And you were like, you didn't want to see him die at the end. And that was very sad. You were like, no, he wants to have a store with Marcos.
You're right. They did a great job on making me like these characters and feel for these characters, so that when he was shot at the end, I was really upset. And I'm like, did Marcos survive? Because I missed it because I know they shot him, and I was like, is he alive? Is he alive? Because he's supposed to inherit the store. Like, I was so worried and that he wasn't going to get the store. And then when he was fixing the store at the end, and I also felt emotional when she won.
Yeah, me too.
I almost felt like I was a part of the election because it was like, half of me was like, I get you don't want him to be a martyr. And then the other part of me is like, you winning isn't guaranteed. So like, what if you don't kill him or let these assassins kill him and he wins? Yeah. Like, then what? Like, I was so stressed out. Like, I got both sides. I was leaning more towards the kill him side just to be safe. Because this Purge thing is disgusting. Like, she has to win. Whether she wins with him being viewed as a martyr or not, like, but I'm so happy she won, and I felt very invested as though I voted for her.
Yeah.
Actually, on my ballot, did I write her name in? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But, like, I felt so invested, and I was so happy when she won, and I hope they had babies.
Yeah. Badass babies.
Badass babies. But I'll learn how to use that little hand spike.
Whatever that's called. Fucking brass knuckled blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's surprising how, I mean, maybe I was just having a moment, but I was real emotional. I don't know, throughout this entire movie.
You know, I think it was, I am someone who's moved emotionally, whether it's scared or sad. I find a moment to cry in most movies, except a lot of the movies that we watch.
Yeah.
Except Pet Sematary and Creepshow, I hadn't cried, but I'm just kidding. But I think it is the characters. They did a really good job, and so then we felt for them. We were like a part of this. I wanted the Purge to end so bad, and I like felt a lot for the people and all of that.
Yeah, they were like this little family, you know, like put together. You know, like Lainey mentions, like, oh, Joe's been taking care of me since I was a kid. And Marcos is like, oh, he hired me like 7 years ago. And it's just like, God, you want them to stick together so bad and all be okay and come out of this. And it was a good movie.
Oh, you know what, though? Before let me just make sure I told you all my stuff. I totally forgot. I have all these. I didn't have as many notes as normal. There wasn't a lot on this. And for those of you who have watched all the Purges, like Tawny, Edwin Hodges' character in all three of the Edwin Hodges' character is in all three of the Purge movies. In the first two, he is credited as the Bloody Stranger, but in this one, we learn his name is Dante Bishop. So,
okay,
so little something there, and Raymond J. Barry, who leader Caleb Warrens and Elizabeth Mitchell also were on Lost. And the only reason I brought that up is because I know a lot of people really loved Lost. And so I wanted to mention there is a subtle nod to Lost 2004 with the appearance of the Apollo candy bar. The candy bar that Kimmy tries to steal from Joe's store in the beginning of the movie.
I did not pick up on that at all. That is awesome. Okay.
And the last two little tidbits I have is the only Purge film. This is the only Purge film that features scenes that do not take place on March 21st or 22nd.
Okay. Are those like the days before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like these are, yeah. I haven't seen the others, so I wasn't sure about it. And the last but not least is that we get to see the leader of the NFFA in this movie, Caleb Warrens, and where in the other ones you don't see him. I guess who the leader is. So that's it.
Neat.
That's what I got for you. I love this movie.
I'm glad. This was an interesting one, timely, very appropriate.
Yes, very appropriate. So much. When you mentioned it, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is perfect.
I mean, really, I can't think of any other horror movie that would have been election appropriate. So I'm glad that there was something for us to pull.
Yeah, that was cool.
The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, did I prematurely rate this? Lower than I should have?
Dude, this movie put me, I actually yesterday went into our master score list. Yes. And looked over all of it and thought of changing stuff. But then the stuff from the past, I was having a hard time because then I felt like, you know what? I really want to rewatch. I want to take one day and rewatch all of the movies we've seen and rate it on with a really fresh pair of eyes. So I didn't change my past ratings, but I did go back. I was like, oh shoot, what am I going to rate this? Should we talk about that?
Yeah, if you're ready.
I think I'm ready.
Okay. Do you want me to go first? I went last both last times in Halloween.
Yeah, go first. Yeah, I was excited about Halloween.
Coming into this episode, I thought I was gonna give it a 3.5, but I think I might bump that up a little bit to a 3.75.
Ooh, nice. Okay. I rate this a 4.
Okay.
I went back and looked at all my other 4s, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, I did. I always do that. Did I like it more than that or less than that? And I definitely, a lot of the movies that I rated a 4, I liked it just as much as that. The one movie that I thought of bumping up to a 5, I did change one score. Not that I'll always have to tell you the scores, and I noted it in our post, but the one that I did move up a little bit was Host. And the reason is because when I was looking through all of our scores, here it is. When I looked at all of our scores, I noticed I had, I think, only a 4, I think I had a 4.5, right, for Host. Yeah, I had a 4.5. And inside of our Instagram, if you ever come across, because you're listening to an episode and it's rated different, just in case you like us that much that you're actually looking, I put in parentheses. I had it as a 4.5. I boosted it up to a 4.75 for Host. And when I went and looked at Host, I saw I had it at a 4.5, and I'm like, I thought I voted that a 5 for all of this time. So that was one movie I was like, shit, I want to rewatch that movie, because when I said that, my daughter went, are you kidding me? You only rated that a 4.5? And I'm like, you haven't even seen it. She goes, yeah, but you don't stop talking about it. Anytime anyone ever asks you, what movie do you recommend? You've been recommending Host. So I was just surprised that you didn't rate it higher. So I put it at a 4.75 because the quarter system.
At this point, we should just move to probably a 10-point system. But listen, we're in too deep. I'm okay. We're committed to
Dude,
a 5.
if you ever want to do a 10-point system, if for any reason you wake up and you're like, I really want, I'm on board, because I actually almost thought, I do agree with, because I thought I'm going to talk to Tawny about this. This was a while ago, because I feel like I could get a way better pinpoint on a score if I had 10 points. And then Josh mentioned that in the Halloween episode. So I thought, okay, well, fuck it. I mean, it's whatever. But if you're ever one day you're like, Jade, we have to change the point system. You just let me know and I'm on board.
Okay. Good to know. I like the 5-point system because I can be like, I recognize the fact that if we do a half, it becomes a 10-point system. I know. Right? Anyway, math.
Oh, I don't know math that well, but... Josh tried to... That whole thing, and Josh, no disrespect, when you said the whole thing about how your team likes to do 5 points and you want to do 10, and then you said some other stuff about but it equals a 10-point system. I smiled. It did go over my head.
Me too. We were both just like, okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we understand that. I guess it's not totally a double system, right? Because you get 9.5 and then 10 and it ends. So it's like a little less than double. But for some reason...
Yeah, because what if you had an 8.75 and an 8.25? It seems like the 10-point system, you have more scores.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of more scores.
That's the thing is, like, the 10-point system, I think, gives me too many options. I like to look at a 5-point scale and be like, where would I put this? Maybe it's a 3. Did I like it better than Creepshow? Yes. Okay, I'm going to bump it up to a 3.5. Like, okay, did I like it less than, like, Host? I think I gave Host a 4.
4.5.
Okay, 4.5. Like,
uh-oh, don't change it.
No, I don't want to change it. But, you know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of how I dial it in. And so it's, like, close to a 10-point system. So I think I'm going to stick with a 3.75 for this one.
It really does, because in the same thing, if you give it a 3, if you think of a C, right, a C, C+, that would be a 7, right? I don't know, 75. Oh, geez, never mind. I was thinking percentage-wise. Just forget it. Let's just stick to 5. Because I won't even know how anymore to grade.
Yeah, too confusing.
It's way too
keep
confusing.
It simple. So our next movie for next week is going to be Train to Busan, which is an awesome zombie movie.
Yes. I'm excited to see this because when Tawny and I first decided to do Two Chicks in a Horror Flick, the very first movie, I was like, Tawny, you tell me, because she had seen so many more horror movies than me. What do you want to watch? And so she gave me the choice to watch Hereditary or Train to Busan. And I chose Hereditary at the time, and I don't remember why. Probably because my kids watch that with me?
I think they did.
They did. My teenagers did. They picked that one.
Okay.
And so we watched Hereditary. And honestly, I was super intrigued because you were saying you didn't even know if you could watch it again. And so that's how I felt about Antichrist. So it intrigued me a lot. So we picked Hereditary, obviously. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This movie's got everything. You'll see. I'm just going to prematurely say that I think you're going to love it. We'll see, but God, I love that movie. I'm excited.
We all know it. We know that Tawny loves it, but we don't know how much she loves it.
That's
score-wise. True. So,
do I just love it or do I fucking love it? I don't know.
Exactly. That is awesome. So everybody else, next time watch Train to Busan so that you can jump in and not get spoiled and, enjoy reviewing that episode with us. Remember, you can find us everywhere at Two Chicks in a Horror Flick, except Twitter, which is Two Chicks HF. Two Chicks HF. And guys, our Patreon. We absolutely love interacting with everybody. It's such a cool thing because not only can you support the show so that we can do this, deliver all this content for you and do so much more for you as well, but you get super special exclusive perks. It's all listed out, so you can visit our Patreon. The link is in our bio, so take a look at that. And what else, Tawny?
Don't forget to like and subscribe and give us a review if you like this podcast.
That would be really nice. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we do have a new review that I'm going to read out loud by Rumbic Thicklethorn.
Ooh, awesome.
That was very fun to say. And they said, great show. 2 ladies with a passion for horror. Hilarious and fun energy. I like the hosts and their chemistry. Keep it up. That's so nice. Thank you so much.
We love that. I'm so happy.
Thank you, Rumbic Thicklethorn. That was very sweet of you.
I love it. That is totally a character in a book.
Yeah.
Right.
Rumpelstiltskin? I don't know. Anyway.
No, not like a real character, like it could be.
Oh, it could be.
It could be a character in a book.
Yeah.
Thank you. We love it. We love seeing that you guys are like, whenever I get a notification, somebody commented on something or it's the most awesome thing. Definitely thank you. If you leave reviews, Google and Apple and all of those algorithm people love that stuff. And so it'll
We don't know how it works.
We don't know how it works, but they see it, they like it, and then they say, hey, people, you should listen to this podcast. That's how it works. And so
yes.
We would love it.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's it. We'll see you next week. And we hope that you have a good night. No nightmares.